What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andy the Middle-Aged Gamer and this is the officially licensed EMG KSG12 pump action gas shotgun OEM by Golden Eagle review. Now, as always, let's stick the usual disclosures on screen and get ourselves ready and jump right in. So, what is the KSG12? Well, the KSG12 in the real steel world is a pump action bullpup shotgun designed and manufactured by Kel-Tec. Based out of Florida, USA, Kel-Tec are well known for their cool and wacky futuristic designs like this, or ones that kind of go down as fast as the Titanic. Now, the KSG rose to fame thanks to the movie John Wick. John Wick used it in his original John Wick movie as the shotgun of choice, and basically, since that moment, everyone in the real steel world and in Airsoft wanted one. Now, in Airsoft, we have two available on the market. We have the unofficially licensed TM one that was released almost a decade ago, and we have now the EMG/Golden Eagle version that you see here on the table. Now, obviously throughout this review, we will be going over a few little differences that they've made between there, but right now we need to get down and dirty. Let's start at the rear and work our way forward and go over what Golden Eagle have done with this awesome piece of kit. Okay, so starting at the rear, we do have our rubber butt pad right here. It is emblazoned with Kel-Tec. So if I peel this off, which is not an easy thing to do when you have no nails, but once you peel that off, you can see here it has Kel-Tec. There's nice textures. It's lovely soft rubberized. It will grip your shoulder, and with it being slightly curved, it definitely won't slip. And that is awesome. Now, that reveals your gas tank at the rear, which you can fill without removing, but should you wish to do a quick swap, say this is emptied like it is right now, you would lift up on this tab and it would launch out your tank. Now, your tanks have been redesigned. They are not compatible with the TM ones, although they look very similar. And to be honest, these are much better. Your fill valve being at the rear means I don't have to take this out. I can just quickly fill it. And these are really good thermodynamically. They're better and more efficient than the TM ones. Now you can just slot that in and it will lock in, as you can hear there. And it's just that little latch there to release. Now, I don't recommend releasing it while there's gas still in it, so please deplete your gas before you do. So we'll put this back on here. Moving up, we have the end cap here. This is held on with the rear takedown pin for here. Now this is kind of like HK, where you've got takedown pins. You can take them out and put them here if you want to take the lower assembly off. Not that you're going to want to do that, but you can. Now, one of the changes to the end cap with this is if you do pop the rear pin and the gas tank is removed, this will just slide out, giving you better access to the internal parts here. Unlike the TM one that required different screws to be taken off and so on, it was a nightmare. They have redesigned internally here. We'll talk about that in a moment. Now, moving up, we do have this stamped aluminium sheet cover here for your cheek well, which is really nice, rigid. It does not move, bend, or flex. You can see your first set of markings, the KSG there of Cocoa, Florida, USA, which is quite nice. Now, if I flip this upside down, you will see you have your tube switch, which on the real steel would basically mean that if in the middle you're in safe, it's not going to fire, but you can flick it to which of your magazine tubes. Now, each tube in the real steel one on this particular model will hold 6. Kel-Tec have made longer ones that can hold up to 24, or you can have the new one that was released only like a couple of years back, and they call it the X version, which is half the length of this, holding half the amount of shells. Really cool. But you can do. Now, to release your shells, you just pull up on here. Now, this side is going to be your main feed, which is easy enough. You just put your shell in, locks in, and you can fire, and then when it's empty, just pull your shell and it will shoot to the rear. And this is your magazine tube. Now, out there, the information that was given to me was that it would hold 2. If you look on the review from Taiwan Gun, for instance, and many other websites, it says it holds 1 in the main and 2 in the storage. But it doesn't. It only holds 1 unless you do a modification, which you can do. And I'm sure there's guides out there like with the TM one, and you can basically make it hold as many as you want, in theory. Trouble is, 1 is more than enough, to be honest with you. And to be honest, I don't use this anyway. I have a different method, which we'll show you later. But this is just a mock selector switch for which tube. So I just leave it on the tube that fires and away we go. Now, of course, moving forward, as I say, you have your 2 holes here in the grip, which basically hold your takedown pins so you don't lose them, a la HK. Now, you can actually flick this to safe, as it says there with S, or you can push it through to fire. Now, you do get a little protector here so you don't accidentally bump it off safe when it's on there, and you have to do it deliberately yourself. You can see your magazine tubes here. Now, just above the fire selector here is your top plate. Now, this plate can be pushed forward, lifted up and taken off, and it will expose this little switch. All the way to the rear is 3 shots. Click it forward. You can now have 6 BBs in there. So 3 and 6 selector is really nice. This just fits back on there, push in, and you can just lock it back into its place. Now, I've never had this come out. It's been retained. There's a little spring in there that keeps it that way. And so, yeah, no need to worry. You can see your pump arms here, which are full metal. They're really decent. Now, moving down, we do have your trigger. It is a pivoting trigger like that. You just pull down and it will release. And you do have your mock actual pump release right here. Normally, you would push that forward to re-rack it and clear a shell. But this is just fixed and is just there for display purposes with it being airsoft. The dimensions of this are so though that if you have the bottom cap, which is sold separately, you can fit the Kel-Tec cap in there should you wish to. I don't need it. It's quite fine as is. It's a really nice grip. It feels good in the hand. It doesn't feel cheap or chintzy, unlike many of Kel-Tec's products. It's really nice quality. Now, moving on for the markings. We do have markings right there, which say Kel-Tec CNC Inc. And we do have it there on the pump with Kel-Tec. Now, moving to your pump, you do have your main pump here. As you can see, that absolutely feels a lot better. And you can hear that, so we'll rack it again for you. And again. Absolutely brilliant. Now, the grips here are actually quite nice. And because Golden Eagle have made a few changes within there, they also sorted out the pump. The pump is now really, really nice. Now, Golden Eagle have done some changes on this, making the pump way better as we've seen, but it's that good with the tolerances that there's no more wear marks both here or here on the magazine tube or on the barrel itself, which is great, and it doesn't feel like you need the force of 12 elephants to rack it. It's just nice and better. Now, moving on up to the top, we do have a full metal rail right here on the top. It's full Picatinny, so you can mount whatever you want. So, we do have iron sights on here. We have your front iron sight, which you can see a little post here, and your rear here, which are your pistol type sights, or you can flip them up to deploy them for better deployment. It's entirely up to you. These are plastic with metal screws and bits, but the actual plates that are mounting it are metal themselves. So kind of nice, and they do work. I've left them on there. As you can see, I run a RMR on there, which is fine. And yeah, just really good. Underneath, you do have this Picatinny rail. And like I say, the polymer they've used on this doesn't feel cheap or chintzy like the TM version did. This absolutely feels way better. I've mounted a foregrip on there, a nice vertical foregrip, and basically just is amazing in gameplay. Now, at the front, you do have your caps that are removable, and that exposes your magazine tubes at the front and that, which are fine. And you have your choke here at the front. You can undo the what many people call a barrel nut off and put on a different choke on there if you wish, just for display purposes, or have the spiked ones and make it look really mean. Of course, you would be able to remove them and fit over the Quark tracer unit that Airsoft make. It's really cool. You do have your sling point here at the front. At the rear, you'll have noticed I fitted my strap because you have a traditional sling point here at the rear. So Kel-Tec do sell a rear takedown pin that is a basic QD point here for the rear, and that screws together and is not easy to be removed. So you can buy one of them if you wish, and the real steel one will fit this, should you wish to go down there. Now, if we flip this around, we can see that the Kel-Tec on the pump is mirrored. All the textures are mirrored, including the sling points and that, which is awesome. When it comes to markings, we have the 12 gauge 3-inch right there, which is nice because this basically uses 12 gauge 3-inch shells. Now, the real steel one would hold 6 in each tube, giving you a total of 12 shots in the tube and 1 in the chamber. Really, really cool. You do have your product serial code right there, which I do believe is unique for each one. You do have patent pending and KSG right there. Now, as you can see, everything else is mirrored, which is really nice. So, at this point, let's take it out to my range and let's see what she can do. Okay, normally I would do a chronograph, but due to the fact that this is a tri-shot shotgun, it's never easy to get an accurate reading. Let's just go straight to the grouping and let's step it back to 10 meters and let's see what she can do. Well, they all hit the paper. That is amazing. Okay, let's put it against the Texas style. Let's see how many it takes. Holy crap, was that good. Okay guys, as you can see, the KSG12 basically is a sniper rifle rather than a shotgun, firing 3 BBs and keeping it within a 2-inch grouping spacing, as you would say. And wherever I put that red dot, it was just hitting. At first I did the first shot at the top, thinking that because I'm only 10 meters and I zeroed this at 15, no, it didn't matter. It's still hitting that red dot wherever I put it. So I just put the red dot all over this card, and as you can see, well, wherever you put that red dot, whoever's in front of it is going to be crying for pain. They're getting 3 BBs pretty close together. That is absolutely amazing. Now, this thing can reach out, and as you can tell, we went to Halo Mill and did a range test on the 35-meter corridor, and well, here you go. Okay, you ready?
Hit him in the arse.
Okay, it's at this point where normally I would take the KSG12 to parts. I usually do that with all my GBBRs, but because this is a absolute ball ache to get back together, I don't want to mess around with it. But I will show you the end cap. As you can see here, this is now different compared to the TM one. And basically, this is a absolute game changer when it comes to parts. You can just slot that in to the end, and like I said, it just is held on with one single pin all the way through, and that's fully rigid in. There's no bend or flex or wobble or anything like that. And like I say, you can take it apart should you wish, but I highly recommend you don't. Just because there's no need. Now, like I say, I'll show you the tank up close so you can see that. But yeah, these are really efficient. You're looking at 7 shells in this for 1 charge of gas. That's a lot. That's 70 pumps. And that basically means, in reality, you're going to get a good 15-minute gameplay out of 1 tank. That's not bad. Unless you're basically pumping this thing like it's a full auto machine gun and putting BBs down range, well, then that's a different story. And God help you all. Now, fitting this back in is quite simple. It just slots in there, like I say, and it will lock in. Now, one thing I will show you is my reload, because I'm sure people are going to sort of like ask, how do you reload it and that? Reloads are quite easy. Just flipping it upside down. If we pull my little armory holder here. So when you're reloading, like if you go normal, there's that resistance there. Okay, so what I tend to do is hold the shotgun at an angle, push that in like that until you hear it click. Now, when it's empty, so you would fire the gun, the shot would go off, and if I leave the gun in its right position, just lift it up slightly like so, put my hand here underneath, using my thumb, just pull down on the switch. And as you can see, it drops into your hand. You can put that in your dump pouch. Then, of course, I would flip this over to another angle here, push that in, and away you go. Very simple, very easy. It's not difficult to do. Like I say, it does launch these out with some force. So, absolutely awesome. What a shot.
Ten minutes remaining. 10 minutes.
Hit. Alright.
Sounds like something.
Where's that teeth?
I think they're all over.
I don't know where to shoot. Yes, I do. Oh, shoot, coming round.
2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes.
Fuck you, Will. Hey, it's short. Come on. Will has lost my left foot. Travesty. Travesty. Come on.
One minute. 1 minute remaining. 1 minute.
Down the long handle. On the end, got the end. Don't cover.
Yeah, it's right up there.
Here.
Game over.
Okay, if you've gotten this far in the video and you like what you see but you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. While you're down there, hit that notification bell and like button. That way you stay notified whenever I upload a new video and something magical happens. The like button turns blue. Now, this channel is and always will be 100% independent. There is no airsoft manufacturer or retailer that sponsors, owns, or operates this channel. All airsoft toys that you see on this channel have been bought and paid for by me. Doing that allows me to be open, honest, and genuine with you guys without any contract that tells me I must say this or that and not this or that. Okay, so what do I think about the EMG KSG12 gas shotgun? Well, let's do what we always do. Let's split it into two halves, the pros and the cons, and let's start with those cons. Let's rip that band-aid off. The main con for me is the reload. The reload takes a lot to learn. It's a very steep learning curve. Once you've learned it though, and you've got that muscle memory, you are going to be like John Wick, running around pumping this thing all day long and clearing rooms. That's brilliant and amazing. But it does take that amount of time to get there. Now, of course, this being based off of a TM design is also going to be a bit of a negative or a con. And that is because TM did a great job at first bringing something very quickly, but in reality, it was a flawed, let's call it for what it is, lemon design. Their design was very tight at the front end, and at the rear end, well, it was more complicated than a Swiss clock, and that way things were happening where the pump was overriding the actual pump stops, the arm stops, and they were basically getting locked in the rearward position. Things like that, leaky valves, just it needed a bit more time in the oven before it was ready, let's say. Now, of course, that's going to now bring us on to the positives. For me, when it comes down to it, let's start with the build quality. Golden Eagle, when given this contract by EMG to manufacture the KSG12, had an uphill battle. Like I say, there was multiple issues that needed to be resolved, and to be honest with you, they've done it day and date. The pump is smooth, the tolerances there are correct now, are just right, where it's not too loose and not too stiff, it's just right. You can rack that thing fast if you want to. Just absolutely awesome. When it comes to the rear end, they've simplified the design a little bit and gotten rid of a few issues that were on the original. Now, on the TM1 inside, the problem that would cause these arms to override was right here on both sides, were two little kind of like PVC plastic sort of spacers just put in here. They were 3M taped to the inside of the sheet metal, And that basically, in an oiled surface, anyone with half a brain cell would know that 3M is going to come off and move, and it did. So as you racked it, they would move the actual spacers down here, and that would allow everything to move out of alignment and the pump to get jammed at the rear. And depending on how long it had been left in its box on the shelf somewhere before you bought it, well, would depend on whether it would work or not. It was one of those stupid things. Now, of course, Golden Eagle have gotten rid of that. They've changed the spacers and that design inside. As you can see, they've changed the rear end here to make it a lot more simpler to gain access, to work on should you need to. You're not going to. But yeah, they've done everything they can to make it as best as they could. Again, with a flawed design in the initial from TM, they had that uphill battle. Now, when it comes to shell compatibility, is another good pro. Not only is it compatible with the actual Golden Eagle shells, but the Double Eagle / SEMA shells will work, and the Tokyo Marui ones themselves will work, which for a Golden Eagle shotgun, that's rare. Having owned their M870 on this channel and done a video a couple of years back, you will know that that TM shell was just too big to fit in properly and be able to eject. So again, you would need to use SEMA or the Golden Eagle shells should you get hold of them. Now, this is basically any shell from any of the manufacturers, as long as they are based off the TM design, should fit, which is really good. Now, the other is the build quality overall. The weight of this thing is heavy. She's not light. When you take it out the box, this thing is absolutely chunky. You feel like you've got an actual weighted firearm in your hands rather than an Airsoft Toy, which is a positive. Of course, everything is well done. The plastic is better finished and feels rigid. It doesn't feel bendy and creaky and can crack like the real steel one based out of recycled plastic, allegedly, or the TM one, which kind of followed suit. It's just really good. I've put this in many games now, and as you can tell by the gameplay in this video, holy crap, what an amazing piece of kit this thing is. Now, like I say, bringing it all round, it's amazing. Now let's talk about performance. You're talking about 7 full shells of BBs and 1 charge of gas. That's bloody unbelievable. And again, the tanks are not that expensive. You can pick them up in Asia now for about $20 a piece, which is like what, £16, £17 UK? Not expensive, should you wish to go that route. But in reality, because of the rear filled design now that you can fill it up while it's still in there, just bring your gas tank or your little Nupro bottle or what have you, and away you go. You can just quickly fill it in your spawn point and get back at it. So you're never going to be basically running out of gas, which is awesome. When it comes to accuracy, well, this thing is more of a sniper rifle than it is a shotgun. My God. You know, hitting 35 meters with a shotgun, that says something right there. Let's put it all together. This is a very accurate, very efficient, well-built KSG12. Something we've all been waiting for. Since the original John Wick movie came out, everyone's been wanting one. The only option we had was the TM one, which is significantly more expensive, coming in at 400 quid on average. This retails for 250 quid on average. I'm sorry, but this is just the better shotgun. I'm a TM fan, but yeah. This is one of those very rare occasions where TM basically kind of suffer. Now again, like I say, once you get your head around the reload, you're going to be basically a machine with this thing. And like I say, I can't wait to hear what you guys think of it if you pick one of these up yourself. This is going to be awesome. If you're playing outdoors, you've got the range. There's no issue there. You're going to be hitting targets. And if you're playing indoors, well, I wouldn't want to be on the other team. That's all I can say. Now, with that, that brings us to the end of this video. And of course, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the KSG, what other videos you would like me to make. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video.